psycho dressed up like Frendo. Call 911.
Where's the button, Jen? What is this?
What kind of phone is this? It feels so weird to ask you this serious question with that mask on your face, but it also feels right at the same time.
Sorry, what mask? What are you saying?
No, it's just you.
No, this is me. It's just me.
Honestly, I would believe that. So.
It is a little hard to breathe.
Oh, there he is.
You got to give it to the stuntmen, people. Hey, let's hear it for the stuntmen.
For real.
Wear that mask.
Pretty incredible mask.
That's
We're going
hard.
to get to discussing all things Friendo in a little bit. But first, I wanted to make sure to highlight your journey from Tucker and Dale versus Evil and Little Evil to this movie. I'll give you a big old two-parter about that.
Yeah.
When you found this book, what was it about it that made you say to yourself, that has to be my next movie? And can you kind of walk us through some of maybe the highs and lows of getting this movie off the ground?
And can I fit evil into this movie somehow? There is a lot of evil in here. So this is a movie that embraces my kind of thematic, my feel of comedy and horror. And this kind of allowed me to push the limits on my horror genre a little more and kind of push the suspense of it, as you could see maybe from the trailer, and then reserve the comedic beats for like individual moments that would kind of like set in stone on their own and not be like throughout the film like Tucker and Dale is really just a comedy out and out. But this is more of a horror first with comedy beats in it. And a suspense and a thriller and a love story. And it has all these themes in it that I get to play with just like the other films I did.
Balances them all quite well. So now the back half of my question there, because it's not easy getting a movie off the ground. You made this independently. It's going to be released in theaters on big screens. Please see this in a packed house. What was it like getting the green light to make Clown in a Cornfield, the movie, a reality?
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of learned the hard way to try to keep juggling a bunch of projects because I've had a lot of balls just fall to the ground and not get made. So I've since Tucker and Dale written a lot of different scripts, and unfortunately they end up going almost to getting greenlit and then falling apart. And this one, I kind of didn't believe it until we were on the ground in Winnipeg. I was like, this isn't going to happen. I'm sure it'll be canceled any minute. And I remember being like 5 weeks out, you know, in pre-production, looking at my crew going, we better act like this is really going to happen. I mean, we got a lot to figure out, you guys, because the cast is showing up any day now. We got to know what we're doing. And it was just, as soon as we got there, it was all hands on deck. Everybody came together to make this film happen and contributed both story-wise and aesthetic-wise. And we just had such a good team of people working on this that, yeah, we made it happen. I can't believe we're here now. Like, I feel so good to finally be here with it.
You're here right now, and that is right after premiering the movie at South by Southwest, where it was very warmly embraced. So there's lots to be proud about right now. And speaking of that team, we have the three of you here right now. I don't want to just stand here and be like, tell me about your character. So here's how I'm going to get at it for the three of you. Can each of you tell me your character's greatest strength? The thing that will help them get what they want in this movie, but then I also want to know their greatest weakness, the thing that runs the risk of doing them in.
I play Quinn, and I think Quinn's greatest strength is her very fast running abilities. And I think one of her weaknesses is probably thinking that it's over when it's not over. It's never over. If that's a good answer.
She's
That's pretty
very fast, by the way. We would have a golf cart chasing her through the cornfields with a camera mounted to it. We couldn't keep up. She would just be racing through the corn too fast. Quinn's got to slow down.
Yeah.
I play Dr. Maybrook, who's Quinn's father, and I would say my greatest strength is my heart. I think that he has a lot of love for Quinn and a lot of hope, but I think that his weakness is maybe he implodes. Like he's kind of when we meet him, he's been on an island. He's sort of they've come to this new town for a new start, and he's not entirely emotionally ready for it.
I play Sheriff Dunne, and I would say Sheriff Dunne's greatest strength is being mean to young people. And I guess his greatest weakness would be the comeuppance and karma that comes from being mean to young people. No spoilers.
What a twist on that question. I love that. Wait, I'm going to stick with that a little longer because I said to everyone, I love horror movies. I love slasher movies in particular, and I might have a little too much fun playing this kind of game with myself and my friends. For each of you, as in real you, if you were dropped in the middle of a slasher movie-like scenario, I want to know your personal greatest strength and greatest weakness.
Oh. I mean, you know, I think one thing that I think about when I watch like a slasher movie is like if there's any way that the people who are, you know, the antagonists in the movie who are getting chased around by the guy with the leather face or the hockey mask or what have you, all of those guys, just try to be crazier than them. Find a wacky prop and your own mask, and then show up next to them, being like, "Me too, I'm gonna," and then and kill them that way. I'm also a serial killer with, I have, you know, whatever it is, the Freddy Krueger sweater, whatever you can get that goes like, this is what I wear all the time when I kill people. They'll be like, oh, okay, we're friends. Okay.
I've never seen that. That is a good idea, I think. That's a gaffle that would really work. Mm-hmm. A lot of those guys are just lonely, right? That would
true.
That problem.
Absolutely.
You do not want to be around a serial killer with this man. He will just turn on you like that. He will become one of the serial killers.
Yeah.
But it's a
crazy.
ploy, right? Like you eventually, or you just actually join up.
Or will you start killing?
No, well, if you enjoy it, you can keep going. But if you just want to save your friends, you're like, I'm Rusty Bread Knife guy, and I got this hat. And it's like, yeah, me too. But then you can saw that guy's head off, or just start your own series of murders, you know?
I feel like
Spin
you
off.
just came up with another movie.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Rusty
be it.
Bread Knife guy. I would see it.
I think some of those guys really want you to die quiet. Good luck. I think that would be my greatest strength. I mean, I don't think I'd make it out of those movies alive or make it out of that situation alive, but I would be causing a ruckus, I think, for sure. So if there's other people in the house that can't be woken up, there'll be an alarm sounded, and the alarm will be me.
Yeah, that's a good one. I was thinking the opposite. Maybe I would stay very, very quiet and not scream the way that they might want me to. And maybe, like to Will's point, play into a little bit more and be a little bit more cooperative until you can then overpower them, or just know when to go home, know when to call it.
That's often the problem with a horror movie is they just don't know when to call it a day.
Don't go into the cornfield.
There were some moments when you're like, how do I get them writing? You're like, how do I get them back into the cornfield? They just left the cornfield. What is the impetus to be like, let's go back in there? As far as I go, I think my strength is perseverance for being here. And then my weakness is just my worrying that they will not be there to see me. Like if I'm getting killed, I at least want somebody to like be there to watch or just to be there. So my weakness in worrying that you all won't show up to the movie on May 9th. Please come.
Yet another excellent spin on that question. I want to follow up on the cornfield of it all here, and anybody jump in with an answer to this question. I feel like as many as we can get would be wonderful, but what would you say to someone out there who sees the title of this movie and is basically like, all right, I know exactly what I'm going to get?
So you
What
have
would you
no
not
idea
want?
what this movie is about.
How could you not want a
never
clown
guess.
and corn?
Yeah.
The answer is you're going to get a lot of clown in a cornfield.
Yeah.
If that's a deterrent, then, you know, maybe this film is not for you.
But, however, if you do not like clowns or cornfields, we do have scenes for you that I would like you to come anyway to just be involved in those moments. Yeah.
I will stress it makes due on the title. It also actually has something to say. And
It does.
I feel like it's a very, very full movie, which is part of the reason why I liked watching it, and it stuck with me after.
The movie, it has a theme of kind of like a generational divide, which I think is very, I can't think of a more relatable, like real, timeless thing. And I think that's where actually a lot of the horror and the anxiety comes when watching the movie is how real it feels and how relevant it is also. And then there's Corn.
I don't yeah, Corn is real. And I don't know if you guys have noticed, but there's a fair bit of like anger out there in the world nowadays.
No.
There's just, I notice that peripherally. And there's a little bit of anger in this movie, but it's also dealt with the kind of a bit of a sense of humor and a bit of lightness. So you kind of embrace what's there, but then also rise above it a bit. And I'm not going to say who the final girl is and whether the final girl survives or not. You'll have to see the movie. But there's some levity to that character that kind of gets through all the gritty awfulness that she has to endure.
Genre, I think, is one of the absolute best ways to explore real world challenges in a way that kind of feels safe and makes it easier for me to compute, if that makes any sense.
I like that.
Yeah.
I do like that.
That's why I keep coming back for more. Eli, digging into the adaptation of it all, because again, this movie is based on a book, an excellent book by Adam Cesare. If anybody hasn't read it, it's great. Do go read or listen to it. The audiobook's also wonderful. But when you're adapting something to screen, it can be a little scary. People want it to stick to the source material that they know and love, but changes have to be made when you bring a story to screen to suit the new medium. So I guess, can you tell me about doing both, honoring the original story, but also finding ways to make changes to make it an effective film and also suit your voice as a filmmaker?
Yeah, I mean, the story was there. Like, Adam wrote such an amazing novel, and it was like, it had so much heart, and the themes of this like divided country that was at odds with each other. And this movie very much isn't at all like, it isn't a message movie. It is just what's there. And it's sort of the grittiness of the world. But I was thinking I love to take some of that and then add some of my tone of levity. So add a little bit of Tucker and Dale, maybe, if you will. But really focus on the propellant of it, because the thing is high octane, you know? The book reads like, I read it in one night. It reads with a lot of energy, and I just wanted this like super high octane action movie. I think, Katie, when we were talking about it, you said you watched a bunch of war movies to get in the spirit of it.
That's like before I realized what we were making, but yeah.
I feel like it's like a war movie almost.
It totally is.
The spirit of the book was just, it felt very easy for me to stay true to it because the themes in the book are very clear.
You bring it to screen in a way that it feels like the book that I know and love, but it also feels like your movie. And I love the fact that I can experience two different versions of the same story, if that makes any sense. Katie, I'm coming your way because this movie is a big deal for you. We spoke a little bit about this at South by Southwest, but I think it's well worth emphasizing here right now. This is your first time headlining a feature film, and you are exceptional in it. When this opportunity comes your way, what is it about Clown in a Cornfield that makes you say, like, yes, this feels like the right type of movie for me to make that leap with?
The name. I think for me, it was the name initially. But then I read it and I realized it's just super fun, and it pays so many homages to like all of the horror movies that we already know and love. And it also had a very specific like swagger to it that I think I recognized in Tucker and Dale and also in Adam's writing. I have to say the movie is it's very contemporary. Adam wrote the book for youth and did a really good job speaking in their voices. So I wanted to make sure that I maintained that, and it was a contemporary take on youth. But it was also still super fun and campy, and the tone was I don't know. We figured out the tone, but I was really excited. I love horror, and I think the real honor is like being able to make content for horror fans because it's such a like the horror community has such an insatiable appetite. Mm-hmm. So it's like, you know, you could really make whatever, and someone's gonna love it, and I loved it. I just loved it.
Somebody's gonna love this movie, and so you have to go see it in theaters to figure out who that person is. Yeah.
I love how you say that after the movie got a huge response. So many people already love it, and when you all see it, I have very high hopes you're going to love it too. Katie, I want to stick with you for a moment longer because There's many iconic components to a slasher movie, and the lead, the now I don't want to use the word final girl, the term final girl, but that feels applicable to where you are in terms of headlining this movie. It was making me wonder, and I will preface this question by saying, like, Quinn is very one of a kind, and I think one of my favorite things about your performance is you make her feel very uniquely your own. But I was wondering, are there any past final girls that, I don't know, you looked at for inspiration or just found weighing heavily on your mind while making this?
Yeah, well, truthfully, I think my favorite final girl is probably Shelley Duvall in The Shining, just because she's so unique and like so weird, kind of. And I wanted to make my character feel. I didn't really want to play a caricature like a final girl character, so I kind of just made her really normal. I just wanted her to be really normal and feel like your neighbor, someone who's got a little bit awkward. And then I just think it's so much funnier when someone like that has to be thrown into a crazy situation. So yeah, I think when it comes to final girls, I look to like Shelley Duvall.
Amazing.
I love that example.
Amazing. She's incredible. You know, she knows so much about horror films. She could vibe with anybody here about it.
Wait, prove it. I already know some of these answers.
Yeah, I know. I had a bit of an explosion last time we spoke.
Just because, like, I couldn't believe the list of horror films you rattled off. It just wasn't what I was expecting.
Oh,
What are some
really?
of your favorites?
Well, I think some of my favorites were growing up. I mean, there's like Japanese horror. There was like I loved when I first saw Audition. I've never been scared in that way before. And I had a similar feeling when I saw Lars von Trier's A House That Jack Built. A Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original 1970s one, is like the best. Oh yeah, Possession. We bonded over my love for Possession. But I think those were the ones that I fell in love with initially. But then, you know, there's like such a broad spectrum of horror. So then I also, like, one of my favorite movies is Evil Dead 2. And I just love the creativity that horror can like bring out of people. And there's like Shaun of the Dead. I don't know. I could list so many, but I think my heart really lies in being deeply disturbed. And I think it's really important for us to kind of like explore our fascination with depravity and kind of mix it into a reality in which, mix depravity into a setting that is based in reality and just kind of see what that looks like. And we do that. Like all horror does that. And that's why I love it. So
it's all, like, horror also has this sort of, it has a nostalgia quality that I think that we all kind of grew up where it was like a pivotal thing to watch something that made you afraid and fear wasn't bad. And so there is a comforting thing to it, but also a visceral thing where I think so much now, especially because TV is sort of blown up, it just feels like a wave of, I don't know, sinking into your couch and slowly looking at your phone while something's happening. And so going to a theater and getting immersed and feeling something along with the comfort of nostalgia at the same time is, I think, like why horror still lives so strongly.
Aaron, I'll follow up on that because I like that you use the word comfort because I'm a big believer in comfort horror movies.
Yes.
It's a very real and important thing. What is your favorite comfort horror movie?
Oh, God. I've talked about this, and this is like a different kind of slasher movie, but it's Manhunter was sort of I grew up on like Friday the 13th and things like that for the reasons I said, that like fear wasn't scared, like fear, there was joy in it. Those kills, like you were scared, but you were titillated by being scared, and that was a different relationship with fear when you're a kid that's very important to sort of cultivate. And then once that starts happening, when you start seeing new movies and new things like Audition and different kinds of, you get scared in new ways. And Manhunter for me, with that first shot with the flashlight going up the stairs and waking up a couple, I was too young. I didn't know what a serial killer was. That's fucked up. That's crazy. Like, it's so crazy, that movie. And there's a guy who can think like a serial killer, and that's why he can catch serial killers. I was so scared. And Tom Noonan in general is, respect and no disrespect, a full monster, man. Like, he is so scary. So that movie, to me, and I go back and watch it all the time.
Will, I'll loop you in with two questions now. I need to know, what is your favorite scary movie? And I'll also give you a similar question that I gave to Katie, because another staple of slasher movies is the sheriff. Is there any big screen sheriff from a past horror movie that inspired your role here?
Oh, man. not a horror movie, but, I just like the way Brian Dennehy wears hats and jackets in First Blood. So the fact that I got onto set and there were brown hats and jackets, I was excited by that. And as far as like comfort horror, I guess there's a lot of them, but any of the Hallmark Christmas movies, those are terrifying. I'm a purist that way.
Great examples. Now we give everyone like a really wide spectrum of genres to watch.
Can I just veer off track for saying one of my favorite things about casting in the whole world is to cast a brilliantly comedic actor in a non-comedic role and watch them shine and the comedy come out no matter what, but in a way that is so real and genuine. Casting Will in the role as Sheriff Dunne was like just a strike of gold because
sweet.
He carried this tone that was so genuine and so earthy, but so funny at the same time. And it was just nobody but Will could balance that humor with like genuine, authentic behavior.
Cheers! Big Southern fried sheriff is hilarious. No matter how serious I'm trying to be and stay true to the material, I will end up being a goofy fucking hack. Yes.
Exceptional casting across the board, which I'm going to come to a little later. But before we show our clip, I want to dig into designing Friendo a little, because another staple of the slasher movie is what your slasher looks like, in particular, finding the perfect mask. So was there any trial and error that led you to the mask we see in the finished film?
There was. We started with a guy that didn't look like this, that looked way happier and way less scary. And then we kind of thought, really, we're trying to scare people in this movie, not just kind of make Friendo look sad and you want to save Friendo. For a while, we had this guy that we were like, oh, poor Friendo. Like, let's root for him. And but the idea behind it was that it's this 1930s mascot for Baypen Corn Syrup. And he's supposed to be selling stuff, kind of like Ronald McDonald used to sell stuff. And so he has this cheery smile. But then in the past, about 100 years, a little less than 100 years, things have gotten a little worse for Friendo. So he's had a little wear and tear. America's not really living up to the American dream anymore. And now he's pissed off and he's hunting down teenagers. So he gets a little more demented looking, and this droopiness happened. And when we found it, we just made it. And when I first saw him fully done, I was terrified. And so I thought everybody else would be.
It's a very effective choice. So the mask is important, but so is, I guess the way that Friendo kind of like carries themselves and operates. So can you tell us a little bit about that? And maybe more specifically, how that differentiates Friendo from all other slashers we've seen before?
Yeah, I mean, this is a bit of I'm afraid it's a little bit of a spoiler. So I don't want to give too much away, but this is like a working man, slasher killer. It's a blue collar. It's very humanistic. So there's some human vibes to him that aren't, say, another killer clown we might know, that lifts off into the spiritual realm. Anyway, I think that there's a lot to reveal about Friendo, but basically he's very...
I'll say his name, Pennywise. Let's start a beef right now with that dude. I ain't scared of you.
Yeah, but so he's kind of got this oafish kind of blue collar sensibility about him.
Okay. That's a good description. And now I have a feeling you all want to see that in action, right? Yeah. I like that enthusiasm because this is an excellent clip. Let's show you a clip from Clown in a Cornfield. I feel like if Friendo didn't kill him, his bench press form might have.
Yeah, I know. His back was going to give out soon anyway. We did him a favor.
Can you tell us a little bit about crafting that scene, maybe more specifically about how you balance tension and comedy there, because it is such a great build, but then we get a good laugh at the end?
Yeah, that's sort of the way the film is conceived, right? So I try to build tension and then let it out a little bit at the end. I think the squeaky shoes is probably what you're referring to. Well, it's very funny in the making of it because all I could remember is being just off screen with this head, throwing it, trying to get it into the cooler full of beer, and I missed it about 7 times. And I was trying to get the head to land upright, and then I threw it, and then it landed and closed at the same time. And I yelled at our act, pick it up, pick it up. He picked it up. And it was really luck that that cooler slammed down. So a lot of this is just all luck, you know? What can I say? It just happened well. But yeah, it's really when I find that moment to like goose the humor at the end with the squeaky shoes, I just can't resist.
Very effective choice right there. You're talking about throwing the head in the cooler is making me think of this particular question. For all of you, we obviously don't want to spoil anything, but I love horror movie magic, and I am fascinated by what it takes to do blood and gore in a movie like this. So can each of you recall a time on this set where you saw something and it made you go, like, I can't believe that's what it takes to make it look like that in the finished product?
You know, can I say there's a and without, and I don't want to spoil anything, of course, but there's a location towards the end of the movie that
Is it a cornfield?
There's other locations.
You could spoil that one.
that's that it looked, you know, it looked terrifying, and it looks terrifying in the movie, and I just wish that the audience could smell it. You know what I'm talking about?
Exactly what you're talking
Yeah, it smelled like it was legit, and it really actually added to, you know, to the motivation of every actor that was on set, regardless of what your story is. It really was. It was incredible how bad it smelled.
When you're working on the budget, you usually get the real thing. So
Yeah,
we actually had a grain silo that had been closed for a while and really smelled like old grain in there.
Is that what it
Helped
was?
everybody. Yeah.
I don't know, man.
And bird poop.
Yeah.
There were so many moments for me. I mean, like, you know, I don't want to talk about total specifics, but it was so, some of the stuff we had a scene might have involved this fellow over here with Will and Katie, and we were figuring out some smoke effects. And behind the scenes, we were thinking about it. We were like, let's get Will to vape. And so Will was just vaping to create smoke coming out of his mouth. And we had a flashing light for Katie to be doing something. Totally no spoilers here.
Yeah.
And we created this magical effect in the movie that you'll have to see. Yeah.
Yeah, we used a lot of practical effects. I hope it's also not a spoiler to say that there is also an explosion in the movie. And we had a malfunction on that day. We had one take to do this explosion, and explosion didn't explode the way we needed it to. And I think we pulled something in editing that made it like, it just, we thought it didn't work, but it worked so well. Like, it worked.
Yeah. We had 2 pieces explode. We didn't get the 3rd piece. And I cheated. I grabbed the piece from over here and I put it here too.
But it looked more realistic. Like, it just looked like an actual explosion. It's not a Michael Bay one.
Yeah, you kind of, next time.
Yeah, it's the practical effects for sure. I think that's always the. I mean, it's a hard movie to talk about, guys, because there are a lot of twists. I know it just says "Clown in a Cornfield," and you're like, why? But there are twists, and for me, actually, the scariest thing is there's multiple twists, and sort of the last one, which was a very human element, a sort of a Frendo reveal, is the scariest thing, which is like this watching it come to life in different ways all the time. I can't really say too much, but I think you're gonna dig. It starts really beating you up, this movie, in terms of like not knowing exactly where it's gonna go.
Worthwhile tease to give.
Mm-hmm. Guys, there's a clown in the cornfield. Done. We're done here. I'll see you after the movie.
Get it? There's a lot more to it than that, like an exceptional ensemble. Katie, I'll ask you this particular question because, again, with so many slasher movies that I know and love, it's so important to have a friend group that feels real, so I care when something happens to them. Can you tell us a little bit about your co-stars and maybe the first time you looked at all of them and said to yourself, like, yes, we are the perfect group to play this friend group?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Like I said, it's written. It's very contemporary, and it when the characters talk, it sounds like youth. And I think I remember the first day that I met everybody was our table read, and I think it was Alex, who you just saw in that clip, who walked in, and he had just like the biggest smile. He kind of just was his character. And he felt like, looking at him felt nostalgic. Like he felt like somebody from like a 2000s movie. And I could see that was like, your casting was so specific and so tonally fine-tuned. It was really impressive. But I'm so excited for my castmates, because you guys will see they're so good in the movie. And everybody's so good in the movie, and they're all really funny. I have the two other girls in the film. I think they're my favorite characters. Like, you guys, I just can't wait for you to fall in love with them. What was I saying? They're great. They're so good.
And the thing that was amazing is watching them all of a sudden working together like they'd known each other for so long.
Yeah.
Like, just right away.
Canadians too. So everyone's a
Canadians get along, and they're tough. Oh my God, they're so tough. They had to endure the worst weather. We won't go to weather. Anyway.
Well, Winnipeg is cold.
Winnipeg is cold.
I think that's the coldest I've ever been in my life, is in Winnipeg.
Yes.
It's a real thing. You just brought up the point that it very quickly felt like they knew each other for a long time. And I think that's also especially important with a father-daughter relationship in a movie, because we're only spending 90 minutes with you, and I need to be very present in what's happening to them now, but I also have to feel like the weight of their history, and they're carrying around quite a bit. So can the two of you tell us about finding that dynamic and making sure we feel what their past was like?
Yeah, I feel it's very easy. Aaron makes it very, very easy to have chemistry with.
Say it.
Aaron's lovely, and I feel like everyone who's met him would agree that it's very easy to find chemistry with him. So I have you to thank for that. And also, I was a fan of yours before I met you, and I knew your work. So I feel like I went into it with just kind of like already kind of knowing you.
That's very nice. I also was a fan of Katie's, and to speak on what you're talking about caring about character, like when you watch these slasher movies, I think what separates Final Girls is like I'm fine with this guy. You're almost rooting for him to kill a bunch of these random asshole teenagers, but like, don't kill that one, not that one. I'm looking for just the main, like that final girl, if you will, you want to care about her so much, and Katie brings so much of herself, so it's so unique, it's so easy to care for her. It never feels like a Xerox of any other final girl, but it also feels like all the best parts of Jamie Lee Curtis or Sidney Prescott or anybody, so she comes with all of that, like just in all her work. It's so specific, and that lends itself to these father-daughter scenes, which, you don't want them to be the part of the movie that you're like, yeah, get to where's the clown at? But because there's such an amazing shorthand, I think that Katie and I had right off the bat, and that's really speaks to you and your work and what you bring. I think just as a human person, those scenes I think are really really lovely and fun, and also make you care about her even more. Yeah, we wanted them to be fun. I think we wanted the relationship to feel lived in, and it definitely. I think I felt. Me too. You can speak for me. Yeah.
Great success with that. I mean it sincerely. I'm going to ask a couple more questions, but then we have time for audience questions. I think there are mics in the aisles, so if you want to line up now, and also I believe they were handing out posters, or they will, so just make sure you get one. But I see the mic back there. They're really, really cool. Before I toss it to the audience, I did want to make sure to ask a little bit about, I guess, the production and costume design. Will, I'll start with you on this, just to kind of like set the stage for this particular town, Kettle Springs. From your character's perspective, like, why does he love this town so much, and why does he want to keep it safe?
I mean, at first glance, I would imagine that Sheriff Dunne grew up there. You know what I mean? Like, the end is sort of the story of the people in the town, and again, not to give away too much about how they feel about their town. I mean, there's no other place for a guy like this, and I feel like these townsfolk that Eli has brought together in this movie. And in this, and in this story, they really do seem like the kind of folks that this is the best place in the world, so long as it never changes. You know what I mean?
So now to dig into the production design, I'm just utterly obsessed with like Easter eggs and maybe small details that aren't necessarily like front and center in the frame, but are just key to filling out this world. So do any of you have an example of like a little detail of Kettle Springs that really popped for you?
I kind of do. I was able to help design my character's room, and there's one shot of like this like bulletin board with pictures all over it, and they're actually pictures of me and my like best friends. And then they had to like sign something and everything, but they were so excited. So I don't know. That's my favorite part of the movie.
That's such a nice little memory to have.
I know.
Did that help you as well? Because like you're playing a person who's coming to a new town and is away from all your like you basically left all those friends behind.
To be in Winnipeg to shoot in the corn.
In real life, yes.
Yes, it did.
Fantastic. Pro. What's what I was saying?
It's really fun to involve all those like parts of your life though into the real film. For me, it was just this little logo that is Baypen Corn Syrup, and it says a little drop of Baypen makes everything better. And it's really corny, but it was like from the book directly, and it felt like what the whole town was about. A little drop of Baypen corn syrup makes everything better, and sometimes not.
I think Will's character would beg to differ. Aaron, any particular little detail that you loved?
I remember, I mean, it was, this is probably not the right answer, but the casting, I remember there's a diner scene and walking and just looking at the extras and the waitress and just like the people in the movie. Will looked so good doing his Dennehy. I just thought that like, that I shouldn't be referring to actors as production design. I'm going to get a complaint from the guild, I guess. But like that was also, I thought, just a tremendous job of just like walking those streets. Like the location looked incredible. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a cornfield. You cast that cornfield impeccably.
Yeah, we looked at a lot of different corn stalks.
Yeah, you picked the right corn stock there. A+ work. Before I toss it to the audience, I did want to make sure to end my questions with this particular one for you, Eli, because I think it's just an important thing to put out into the world. So this book that the movie is based on, that's one book in a book series. So one question I have to ask is, are you considering adapting more? But the more important half of that question is, when people want more, what do they need to do to get more?
Yeah. So you just send a check to directly to me. Skip the movie theater if you want. No, I mean, here's the thing. Like Adam has written he's on his 4th book now. He's written 3 amazing books. We have an amazing lead actress here for this. We have so many elements of this set up. What we don't have yet is all y'all's like participation and love yet. We just need a little love, and then I think we're on our way to a sequel and more. There's so many great things that Adam has already created for us to get into, and I don't know. I'd love to take another stab at a Friendo Lives sequel. So we'll see what happens from here, but if we're putting it out in the world, and let's see what happens.
I'm rooting for it. In this business, when you want more of what you like, you got to see it again and again. Spread the word, support independent filmmaking, please. Hello over there. What is your name and your question?
Hello, my name is Alex, and I had a question for Eli Craig. With so many horror novels and even comic books out there, what really gravitated you towards this franchise?
Well, to me, it had the elements of suspense I was looking for. And what I really like to tell is a story that you don't have to think about the themes at all. But if you do, it actually is pretty deep. Clown in a Cornfield seems like it wouldn't be a deep story at all. But actually, it really is. It has all kinds of layers to it about generational trauma, about what the U.S. is going through, what I think the world is going through right now, which is this like cataclysmic change, people trying to hold on to the past, people trying to push toward the future. So to me, it's like a really timely topic with these huge themes, but it's also a fun ass movie. It's a really fun ride. When I made my first film, Tucker and Dale versus Evil, thank you. I had a blast making a film that people could watch and just laugh their butts off. But if you took a step back, you could say, oh, this film's about racism. It's about classism. It's about culturalism. It's about judging people, before you really know them. And so for me, I just like to see all these layers in the onion. And that's what gets me really excited.
Thank you so much, and I'm hoping for a sequel already.
Thank you.
Thank you for your question. Hello there. What's your name and question?
Hi, my name is Brendan, and my question is for Katie. Really love her work in Ginny and Georgia, The Karen Robinson Story, and Lisa McVeigh. My question is, what inspiration did you take from your previous roles that may have inspired you in your portrayal of Quinn Maybrook?
Well, it's an interesting question. I think Eli mentioned that going into the movie, I kind of started studying war movies because I thought it would be interesting to, play it really straight. But then when I got there and I kind of started reading lines with the other actors and we started to figure out a tone, I realized that I could have a lot more fun with it than going to war. It was kind of hard for me to figure out tonally what world we were living in. But at the end of the day, Eli directed us to just be very grounded and play it straight. And I have played roles before where horrible things have happened, and I was definitely it was easy for me to tap into that again. I brought all that to the movie, but I also adjusted those emotions to fit the tone to this movie. It's a very unique tone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hello there.
All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Gordon. I just want to say thank you for taking the time to come and talk to us. So I really admire the people behind the camera who help make projects like this possible. My question is for Eli and any other members of the cast. How was it working with your costume designer, Laura DeLuca? Costume designers don't get enough love, and their work is so important because we see it almost every scene on screen.
Thank you. Wow. Thank you. Do you know Laura?
I do not, but I just love the work that the designers do. It's so amazing.
So Laura, costume designers really up there. It's really far up there. You have production designer, costume designer, and Laura really helped us find Friendo, even beyond just the wardrobe. We weren't really getting the mask right, and Laura was working with us. She brought a drawing to me that was closer to this mask, and I had told her I wanted the wardrobe to look kind of Americana without hitting the nail completely on the head. I didn't want it to be like the boys or something wearing an American flag, but I wanted the American feel. So she designed that, and I think completely pulled it off, and such an integral part of the team. But I feel that way toward everybody in the crew, across the board. And one of my spiels is just respect, because this is a communal project. We all work together, and whether you're shoveling snow on set or whether you're the director calling the shot, you're all the same to me. You're all the same, and everybody deserves equal respect.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Hello. What's your question?
Hi, my name is Alyssa. My question is, what would be a song to describe your characters? Or for Eli, what would be a song to describe the movie?
Girl, you really got me now. I don't know. That's what came to mind.
That was great.
Yeah.
Good one. I don't have it. I mean, I literally sing a song in this movie.
Yeah.
Spoilers. It's bad, and I am bad. But that's the charm of that. I think it's the manner in which he does it.
Yeah.
But I don't mean to deter people from seeing it. You can just forget I didn't say that. Don't post that on any Reddit or whatever.
Yeah, I think there was a song that while we were in pre-production, Eli and I were sending music to each other to try to establish a tone, and that's just something that I kind of like to do. But there was one song that I had like a personal relationship with that just kind of felt like it had the same type of swagger that the movie had, and I think we ended up using it in the movie.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's how collaborative
Should
it
I
is.
say it?
Yeah, say it, yeah.
It's Wicked and Weird by Buck. What is the
Buck 45?
Buck 45, yeah. And that one, I associate that song now with this film.
Yeah, that's what you dance with Cole, too.
Yeah.
I also, by the way, have some behind-the-scenes footage of Katie freestyle singing with Carson playing guitar at a fire, behind the scenes, singing about clowns coming to get her. Yeah. It's quite hilarious and awesome. She's a great singer, so someday.
Share that. Will, you got a song?
Yeah, I can see Sheriff Dunne, in the morning in the shower singing Lukenbach, Texas by Waylon Jennings. It's a calm and cheery melody about a guy who loves his hometown. Before Sheriff Dunne goes out and shoves teenagers around. That would be the song he would listen to.
All right, next up.
Hello, my name is Aaron as well.
Oh.
And my two favorite subgenres are horror comedy and cosmic horror. So I will definitely be in the theater day one for this.
Cool.
I really appreciate that you went practical effects. I loathe computer-generated blood. And I was just wondering if you could say, without spoiling anything, what your favorite, or do you have a favorite kill in the movie?
One's from the trailer.
Yeah. Actually, I was about to say yes, but then I realized, no, there's a couple that are, there's some really good kills in this movie. I think that's my favorite part of the movie. They're great kills, hard to pick.
They're like picking your favorite child,
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No one else has a hint?
I don't know. Favorite kill of all. What
I'm
about
trying
favorite
to
kill
think
not
of
in
a
this
code
movie?
word.
Favorite, yeah, do you have a favorite kill of any horror movie?
Oh, we can open it up
Such
to
a good
that
question,
if you want.
Aaron.
Oh, wow.
Scanners. I mean, it's really, I like combustion. I like just a full essence of everything. I mean, that's the first thing that comes to my mind is Scanners.
It's still Jaws. Still got to be
Yeah. Good ones.
Still Jaws.
Yeah. There's a hilarious death in It's a Holly Merry Christmas, which is just, with regard to the Hallmark Christmas movies. It's a car accident with the main antagonist in the movie who dies. It's at the end. They didn't need it in the film at all, but it's a good one. It's a good one. You don't see that coming. I'll tell you that right now. Danica McKellar's in it. I don't know.
Let me say this real quick. I mean, we all know Will from his long, extremely successful, extensive career being hilarious. But the minute he shows up in this movie, you're kind of like, oh no. And he's really, really amazing in it. He's so scary.
Oh, cheers.
Kate,
Cheers.
did you have one you wanted to shout out?
That was really, I was going to say Bambi's mom as a joke, but I'm not. It's too hard to choose. I'm sorry.
All right, next up.
That was all practical. They
Last
just did it.
question. Oh, I see the sign.
Hi, my name is Mark. Two-part question. One is for Eli. And Aaron touched on it in regards to just twists. Is there, without spoiling it, in the movie Frendo the Killer, do you know kind of who he is in the beginning of the movie? Because in certain horror movies, it's like the dad or...
How dare you?
Oh, no. Can we strike that from the record?
It's someone close to the person. So that's my question. Second part is for Will. I also wanted to be the Daniel Day-Lewis of TV dads because I loved you in United We Fall. But
Oh, wow.
That's...
So you're the one who saw that. All right, everybody.
So that's my question.
Well, for the first question, you're basically looking for hints. So it sounds like you're cancel out some of them. I'm not going to give you too many hints. Do you know who the killer is? Well, if you do, then don't tell anybody. And if you don't, then I probably shouldn't tell you. So, no, you don't know. No. Go ahead, Will.
I love Daniel Day-Lewis.
Great.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks for your questions. Anyone we didn't get to, I'm so sorry, but thank you for getting up and wanting to talk clown in a cornfield. I'm going to say huge congratulations to all of you. Thanks to everybody in the audience. Make sure you see this movie on the big screen May 9th, and also spread the word. Tell your horror-loving friends. Also tell somebody who might not be into the genre, because one thing I love about their movie is I do think this is going to open it up to folks who are maybe a little skeptical about horror. It really feels like a horror movie for everyone. So spread the word. Congratulations.
Thank you, Perry.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
And thank you, Perry. Give it up for Perry as well. Perry's the best.